Rockadia.com.
Well, we are Froskull. I am Jason. I play bass.
I'm Steven. I play guitar and sing.
I'm Brett. I play guitar and sing.
And I'm Josh. I play drums.
And I guess Froskull can be described as a progressive rock band. It involves electronic elements influenced by some hard rock and heavy metal, and it's really pan-genre.
Yeah, very fusion-y.
Well, the main idea behind the band name is kind of humorous. It's a strange name, but it has to do with my brother Steve's hair. When he was in high school, he used to grow a huge afro, and all of his friends called him Fro. When he bought his house, all his friends called it Castle Froskull, after the Castle Grayskull from He-Man. So we decided that would be a good name for the band, since that's where we practice, at Castle Froskull. So we shortened it to Froskull.
Gosh, that's incredibly difficult to answer because, I've had just an uncountable number of musical phases gone through in life, just listening to just every different genre. You probably hear it in the music, when you listen to it. You can tell that I've listened to, way too much Steve Vai, and at the same time I listen to a lot of jazz and listen to a lot of electronic music. So, ultimately just everything I've ever heard and enjoyed is an influence, and it's really tough to, even though we are a progressive rock band, and there's some obvious elements there that we sound sort of like Rush or Yes or some of the old prog rock bands. Even though those elements stand out, you can still hear all these other undertones of these other things I've listened to throughout my life.
We actually started recording Froskull, the album, in 2009. Alabaster, I believe, was the first track we started laying down, and we went through 2 lineup changes in the middle of the album, which is why it took a while to get down. So in all, about a little less than 5 years, 4.5 years between there.
Yeah, we finished tracking in basically the end of 2013.
Oh yeah. So and it was just released a few weeks ago. As far as specific recording techniques, we really just used this space to record the whole album. We didn't really utilize anything else outside of here. It was just all miking techniques. Steve knows his room really well, so he was able to get good sounds on the album just where we're standing.
Yeah, it was done on a budget. We used some really inexpensive gear. The DAW I used is about 15 years old, so that was the primary technique, was just to do a whole lot with a whole little, what can I say? I'm a huge fan of electronic music. I'm still listening to it to this day, but my first experiences as a composer were when I was a child. When I was a teenager, I would experiment with my computer and make music on the computer. And that was before I even learned how to play an instrument, before I had any interest in rock music, as a matter of fact. So that's where the electronic elements come from. It's just that was actually my foundation as a composer. Before I knew anything about music theory or even human expression in art, I knew about the electronic expressions in art. So that'll probably never leave. That element will never leave Froskull as long as I'm writing.
Yeah, it's really natural for the band.
I think the best part about creating the Froskull album is actually having a record of all these influences that we've named and everything that we've done, having something to show for it, a product to present.
Yeah,
I'm very proud of it.
it's been a kind of an adventure experimenting with all these different sounds and actually making them work together on an album. Like, it was very important to be able to do all these things and just have it flow and have it seem natural that all these things could exist together.
Yeah, I think what I like the most about it is having been, part of this band since 2008 is just the amount of growth that we had over the course of recording this one album as a band. Music, like I became a better player, and the music just changed and evolved the entire time over the whole course because it took so long, and we were able to refine things and everything just come out, as good as we could do.
Yeah, absolutely. I can remember I did a final mix on everything, to all the old material that we had recorded in 2009 and 2010. Went through it one more time and just completely redid all that stuff. Not as far as tracking goes, but as far as the mix goes, because in those few years I had evolved as a mix engineer and as a producer, so I had to apply that new experience to the old tracks before we could throw it all together into like the one new sound.
Yeah, otherwise it may not fit. It wouldn't sound like a meshed album.
I think I'd have to choose Tesseract for that, just because they're my favorite band right now. Anyways, it'd be a humbling experience, but yeah, that'd be fun. We'd probably learn a lot, all of us.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know who I want to play with,
Yeah, I just picked something.
We're sort of always looking for opportunities to play, and in Nashville, there's not a lot of progressive rock happening. So if someone says, "Do you want to play with us?" We'll normally, as long as it's not like a terrible show, or terrible, date or time of night, like, we're going to say yes. We've even done shows with some big name country stars in Nashville because that sort of happens when you play music in Nashville. You end up playing on country bills, and the audience loves us when we do that sort of thing. So, but it's really difficult for me to narrow down one artist.
It would be cool to open up for Rush, just because they haven't had anyone open up for them. That'd be like some kind of trophy or award or something.
That would be huge. Yeah, I mean, I think anyone would just love to share a band with bands they really like to listen to. Anyone that I grew up listening to, if you told me I could play a show with them, I would just be like, hell yeah, we're doing that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Michael Jackson. I would love to do a show with Michael Jackson.
That'd be great. Maybe get a hologram going.
We're not going to be playing as many shows out as maybe you guys did, last year. But we're going to really be focusing on delivering content over the internet, video, audio. We're going to be doing some new stuff. We haven't really started on any of that just because these guys are busy promoting their album, and I'm new too, so I don't know how much you know about that.
Yeah, Josh is the new drummer. So,
but I'm an internet kind of guy, so I'm building stuff right now that will serve as infrastructure for brand new ventures as far as everything goes with the music, with everything. So
yeah, taking a whole new different direction, Like, I tell this to people over and over again, and can't really be upset that there's few people that go out to support their local music, because it's so easy to have fun at home nowadays with, Netflix and whatever else there is, that we're trying to be progressive in the sense of how we're going to become a well-known band. And it's not really, we think that nowadays it's a mythology to think that promoting your band means driving around and playing to 15 or 20 people. Really the best way to get exposure is to be content creators on the internet. And so that is the direction we want to go in. We still love to play live, but we are limited by the amount of demand there is for live music. At the same time, we have this creative impetus that we want to satisfy, and so that is going to be put towards creating internet content.
Yeah, I think a lot of bands are kind of pissed off that they don't get to play their music on stage every night, because I think that's what drives a lot of people to do that. It's really more of an indulgent thing anyways. But we're just a little bit different. We're going to try to satisfy that other itch that nobody else really can. So, and that means delivering content to people different ways, not just on BB Kings or something like that.